Now on Coast TV News.
Deadly plunge into Bay. The shocking details of Sunday's crash on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel.
Big chill continues. Warmer weather and rain. How much ice and snow remains from that big storm last month?
Rain is exiting the coast, and we are going to be left with, well, a cloudy, raw, breezy day on Delmarva, but I'm tracking a nice warm-up that everyone is going to enjoy.
Reddick for the win.
And Tyler Reddick comes to the line. Wow. A shower of sparks behind him.
The wild ride at the Daytona 500 for the driver of Michael Jordan's car.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And welcome to our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for joining us on Monday, February 16th, 2026.
Yeah, we just saw exciting first race in the NASCAR season, Daytona 500, and we're also hitting the final week of Olympic competition.
Matt, do you remember the term that I taught you this morning?
Oh boy, no.
The flow state.
Flow state,
I told
yes.
Matt when I was in the middle of my makeup, I was like, I'm hitting a flow state. He was like, what is that? This was your flow state, having the Olympics, the Olympic hockey game on, watching your NASCAR. You had it all set up on different monitors. That is the Matt Pensick classic flow state.
I had a lot going on in the entertainment area yesterday.
That does sound like a fun time. And you know who else told me he hit a flow state the other day? Was Chris during one of his weather hits. He said, I'm hitting my flow.
Oh.
And you know what? I said, Chris, you're always in a state of flow.
Well, hopefully we're going to get into a nice flow of mild weather as we go into the day tomorrow. We have to get past today first. We have a lot of clouds out there this morning thanks to the overnight rain we had. Now, we are dry. Just a lot of puddles greeting us this morning. This area of low pressure continues to kick offshore. They had a little wet snow to our folks to the north in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. But you see we picked up over an inch of rain through most of coastal Sussex, over an inch in Bethany Beach, nearly an inch in Georgetown and Rehoboth, and just over half an inch there in Milford. 37 right now in Ocean View. See, the wind is really whipping the American flag there. Some visibility issues this morning, some fog beginning to form in and around Ocean City, but the good news is we are above the freezing mark with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Now, we're going to continue to see rather breezy conditions, especially at the beaches as we progress through the morning and through the early part of the afternoon. A mostly cloudy, raw day ahead with temperatures in the low 40s. Coming up, we will talk about when the 60-degree temperatures make a return in that 7-day forecast.
Hey, Chris, even though we're in this stretch of seeing temperatures above the freezing mark, just a little bit of ice on some of the water in our areas. We got a live look now of the canal in Lewes. A lot less ice if you look at this compared to where we were 10 days ago there.
And taking a look on the other side of the peninsula, here's a look at Cambridge for you. Taken just moments ago. More ice. You can see that along the boat slips that we're seeing in this shot.
And Chris, you were looking over some historical data. I saw you working on that for February.
And you found that this is the coldest start to the second month of the year in 30 years.
Yeah, that's right, Grace. Not only do we have the snow in January, but we had that prolonged stretch of cold where we did not get above the freezing mark. And it's made for some pretty picturesque pictures of some ice at the coast, but also has wreaked havoc for people that use their boat and the water for making money. And you can see it's wreaked havoc on the Lewes and Cape May ferry. You can see still 90 to 90% of ice in and around portions of Cape Henlope and along the bay. We saw a nice video of a seal sitting on a piece of ice along the Delaware Bay over the weekend, and you can still see some icing concerns across the Choptank and Nanticoke rivers. Still seeing that ice where we're seeing shallow waters along the inlets, but we need higher dew points. We need warmer temperatures, and we also need warmer temperatures at night, too. And we're going to be getting that here over the course of the next week as temperatures soar into the lower 60s. We'll talk more about the warmth and when we'll see our next chance of rain in that 7-day forecast.
All right, thank you, Chris. And after getting above the freezing mark for the past couple of days, a significant amount of snow has melted.
And to give us a live look outside is Coast TV's news reporter Elisa Weber. And Elisa, much of what we got last month has melted away.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. It is a breezy morning here in Lewes, but yes, as you mentioned, those temperatures that were above the freezing mark, they significantly helped to melt all of that snow that's been sticking around for almost a month. I know right here you see snow behind me. This is the parking lot at Johnny Walker Beach in Lewes. This snow pile, while it is still here, it is significantly melted. I mean, last week it was probably up to here, so this is good news for the areas with people trying to visit the beach early in the morning to go for walks. It's definitely much better. The conditions so far. We do still have snow sticking around in some areas as some of those snow piles were just super high. But overall, we're starting to see fields again, which is always a good sign. There's really no ice left in parking lots, which is great as well. In terms of the rain, it rained early yesterday evening into very early this morning, but at around 4 o'clock that rain stopped and we have not had any since. Today it's really just going to be windy here at the beaches, so if you come early in the morning to Lewes, make sure you still bundle up, but hopefully the weather keeps warming up. As Chris has mentioned, I think we're all ready for springtime. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Elisa. I do have to turn to some tragic news now. Authorities have identified 61-year-old Ronnie Andrews from North Carolina as the Purdue Farms tractor-trailer driver who died Sunday morning after going overboard the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. Now, you can see the scene from our Coast Copter here. Police say the accident caused guardrail and curb damage to the bridge. A single southbound lane remains open while repairs continue. The cause of this crash remains under investigation, and officials say weather was not a factor.
Here's a more exact look at where this happened on Sunday morning. Authorities say the crash was on the southbound span of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel near the North Channel Bridge, just south of Fisherman's Island.
Purdue Farms saying in a statement, quote, "Our thoughts and deepest condolences are with his family and friends and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. He had been a valued member of our team," end quote. And we do have more details on the tractor-trailer accident in our article right now. It can be found on CoastTV.com.
Happening this afternoon in Georgetown, officials will continue to plan for the 250th anniversary of our nation. According to the agenda, the America 250 Committee is expected to discuss a building mural and craft festival. Committee members may also consider a fire hydrant painting activity along with an update on possible sponsors. And officials will gather in Georgetown today at 3:30 p.m.
Also happening today, it is President's Day, and that means people can go to national parks for free. There are 10 days this year where you can get in at any national park free, and they're mostly on federal holidays, but they also include days like Constitution Day and Theodore Roosevelt's birthday, and one of the free ones is here in Delmarva. It's Assateague Island National Seashore. On Sunday, the Daytona 500 did not disappoint in the thrills department. Tyler Reddick, driving for the Michael Jordan co-owned 2311 team, wins the Great American Race. Reddick only led one lap, but it's the one lap that mattered. Well, more on the Daytona 500 later on Coast TV News today.
We're now taking a look into Washington, D.C. on this Monday morning, President's Day. But with no agreement over ICE reforms, the Department of Homeland Security has now run out of funding.
Yeah, this just in, the federal employees, including TSA agents and FEMA workers, they're on the job. They're on the job without pay. And
with Congress out for the week, Alice Barr shows us how there are growing concerns about how long this partial shutdown will last.
This morning, the reality of another partial government shutdown is settling in after the Department of Homeland Security ran out of funding over the weekend with no deal on reforms to immigration enforcement operations.
We need change that is dramatic, that is bold, that is meaningful.
We have to protect law enforcement.
While negotiators struggle for common ground, ICE and Border Patrol at the center of the dispute are still funded through what President Trump called the Big Beautiful Bill, while critical workers at FEMA, the Coast Guard, and TSA are once again working without pay.
People's lives and livelihoods are being played with here.
Union leader Andrew Cardosa says many TSA agents are still recovering from the last shutdown in the fall that snarled air travel for weeks. He says they can't afford another extended stretch without pay.
For me, eventually, it's going to come down to, do I put gas in the car to go to work for free, or do I put food on the table with that money for my kid?
Democrats argue they have to stand firm in the wake of the shooting deaths of 2 American citizens by federal officers. They're demanding changes, including a uniform code of conduct for ICE and Border Patrol, judicial warrants before immigration arrests, and no masks on officers.
No police department in America doesn't identify themselves.
What are you going to do, expose their faces so you can intimidate their families? What we want is ICE to be able to do their job.
Congress is out until next week, but could come back to vote if there's a deal. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Authorities continuing to investigate a house fire in Virginia after reports of an explosion late Sunday night. According to Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department, units arrived to find the house on fire and immediately began working to bring the flames under control. It's unclear whether anyone was injured or what may have caused the explosion.
New this morning, the Mardi Gras celebration continued across southeast Louisiana on Sunday with several major crews rolling through New Orleans as carnival season builds toward Fat Tuesday. The carnival season began on January 12th and has featured weeks of parades leading up to Mardi Gras Day. That's tomorrow, February 17th.
Oh, looks like a fun time there. We're just getting started here on this hour of Coast TV News Today.
And coming up, keeping streets clean, how a new program in Salisbury plans to prevent trash from washing into waterways.
Also, winter crops condition, how farmers say crops were impacted after massive winter storms.
Still ahead, driving detour, when officials say people in Worcester County should begin to plan for extra travel time. And First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono is in the Weather Center. We have some wind gusts to tell you about, and Chris is working on their intensity. We check in with him next.
Good Monday morning, Delmarva. If you're up with us this morning, maybe the day off. We are looking pretty dry today. We had the rain overnight that is now pushed offshore as this area of low pressure continues to intensify as it continues pushing off to the east. But the winds are pretty gusty, especially along the coast this morning. We're at 37 right now in Ocean View with that wind out of the northeast gusting to 30-35 miles an hour. Now we are above the freezing mark at all of our locations, so not dealing with any icing concerns this morning. We're at 37 in Georgetown, and you see those gusts, 31 in Bethany Beach to 28 in Lewes. We had the wet roads this morning, a lot of puddles out there through the area, but temperatures rising into the lower 40s under mostly cloudy skies. Those winds will continue to gust at least through the early part of the afternoon. We'll talk about 50s, 60s coming up in that 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Chris. Now take a look at these pictures from the Georgetown Fire Company Sunday morning after a trash fire sparked near Biden Avenue and Carmine Way. The fire company says the crews were called out around 7 a.m. for a fire involving newspapers. And the photos posted by the department show stacks of papers smoldering.
The Maryland Department of Transportation says drivers should expect overnight detours on State Route 90 in Worcester County. Guardrail repairs between Route 528 and Coastal Highway. They start February 18th. Traffic will get detoured to US 50. And MDOT says drivers should plan for up to 30 minutes of extra travel time.
Wendy's says its plans to close at least 5% of its restaurants over the next few months. The closures are part of a previously announced turnaround plan, and in November, the fast food chain said it would shutter hundreds of restaurants. According to the company's earnings, Wendy's had nearly 6,000 U.S. locations at the end of last year. The company has not announced a list of any specifically affected stores.
Ring is responding after its Super Bowl ad that showed how Ring owners can share their camera's video to help owners of lost dogs find their animals. It immediately drew concern from people worried about how else that type of AI technology might get used. And now Amazon, which owns Ring, announced it is ending its partnership with Flock Safety. That company lets Ring owners share video with law enforcement agencies. Amazon says it realized the integration would have cost too much time and money.
Well, the rain we had overnight is pushed offshore. We are left with rather damp conditions, a lot of low clouds across the area. We're in for a breezy start to the week with a lot of clouds, but boy, the temperatures are going to be the story this week as we soar back up into the lower 60s. Your full 7-day forecast is up next.
Time is 6:18, and we are giving you a live look at the early morning scene at the Roosevelt Inlet in Lewes. And Chris, we're coming out of Valentine's Day weekend with plenty of gray skies.
Yeah, we had the rain that developed late last night and was with us for most of the overnight. The rain has now come to an end, but we're dealing with a lot of low clouds across the region. But the winds are picking up as well, especially at the coast as this area of low pressure continues to strengthen. And we also have high pressure building in, so you get that tight pressure gradient allowing for those winds to accelerate. 35 right now in Milford. See the wet roads out there. Little fog trying to form there in and across Ocean City. You see visibility down to 3 miles. Good news is we're above the freezing mark, so not dealing with any icing concerns. 36 in Lewes, we're at 37. Millsboro 38 in Salisbury. Winds right now, we've seen some gusts 20 to near 30 miles an hour. We're gusting to 31 Indian River Inlet and 30 in Ocean City out of the northeast. Now we do have small cramped advisories up for the entire Delaware coast. Those run through tomorrow evening, and we also have small cramped advisories through the Chesapeake Bay through this afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies through the day today. We'll top out around 43 in Long Neck, 40 in Ocean City, 43 in Cambridge. Now we get some clearing late this afternoon, especially in the western portion of the peninsula. Partly cloudy overnight, and then a partly cloudy day into the day on your Tuesday. So there's a wind gusts in excess of 30, 35 miles an hour out of the northeast, especially along the beaches through the afternoon. The further west you go, the less of the wind will be an issue. But as we go into the evening and overnight, that area of low pressure pushes further to the east, and the winds will be relaxing through the day on your Tuesday. 55, average high 48. We soar into the lower 60s Wednesday and Thursday. Primarily dry for most of the week. Could see an isolated shower as we go into Wednesday. I think most of the rain is going to be to our north, at least with that system midweek. It's not until late Thursday in through Friday where we see our next system push in, and this is going to be, again, primarily a rain event as we go into Friday with periods of rain, and then we dry things out in through the day on Saturday, but that cold front is going to be ushering in some cooler air by the weekend. We're at 43 this afternoon, breezy at the coast with those winds 30, 35 miles an hour. We're at 27 overnight, partly cloudy skies. 55 into our Tuesday, a pleasant day, and we're looking at partly sunny skies into your Ash Wednesday, 60 degrees, 62 into Thursday, and then watching that chance of rain late Thursday into Friday. Could be a wet start to your day on Friday, 57, still on the mild side, and then we're looking at a much cooler weekend with the temperatures falling back into the mid 40s into Sunday with another chance of rain late Sunday into your Monday.
Thank you, Chris. Now we're coming into a warming stretch in our forecast. However, the recent freezing temperatures from the storms left a mark on Delmarva's farmers, and now some are counting their losses, while others share what they were worried about while trying to keep their animals safe. CoastTV News reporter Drew Bellinger shows us how farmers are handling their crops and their livestock.
Farms of all kinds across Delmarva, seeing the impacts from this winter's cold.
I can't really remember a winter this intense.
Patrick Carey of Carey Apiary and Farm in Frankfort says this winter killed an entire one of his bee colonies.
I mean, it's not only is it sad and depressing to lose a bee colony, but there is a value behind that. A bee colony is worth about $250 with the potential of making 40 pounds of honey. So you're looking at losing something that's worth a couple $1,000s.
Carey shared this video from Wednesday showing a happily active hive now that things are slightly warmer. He says bees were the main loss, while his apple, blueberry, and other trees are doing just fine. Luann Riley at Riley Brothers Farm in Millsboro says they avoided major losses.
When calves are born, they need to be up and moving within a half hour at the most so they can get colostrum, so they can get moving. So when they're cold, if they don't get up and move, that is very stressful and even deadly on them.
Riley says while cattle are bred to be outdoor animals, people aren't. And that means preparing for the cold affects her more than it does the animals. But it's all a part of being a farmer here along the coast. For CoastTV News,
and up next on CoastTV News today, keeping streets clean, how Salisbury city leaders say a new program will give a public shout out to participants. We'll be right back. New this morning, Salisbury launching a new effort to keep roadways clean and cut down on litter. The Adopt a Road program invites volunteers to take responsibility for specific stretches of road within city limits and collect trash as well as recyclables. City leaders say that the goal is to reduce litter along Salisbury roads and prevent debris from washing into storm drains and nearby waterways, including the Chesapeake Bay. The city will install a sign along each adopted roadway to recognize participating groups.
Assateague Island National Seashore is looking for volunteers. Applications are now open for visitor center volunteers in the Mainland District. These volunteers, they help staff the visitor center desk, providing orientation and information about the island's unique natural and cultural resources.
Well, we have some damp conditions greeting us out the door this Monday morning after overnight rain in Lewes. We're having a temperature there of 35 degrees, so we are above the freezing mark, but a breezy morning through Ocean City and Fenwick Island with some gusts in excess of 35 miles an hour. A lot of clouds to start the day as well. Mostly cloudy skies through Lewes and Rehoboth will top out generally in the lower 40s with late clearing. Cambridge and Crisfield not as breezy along the midshore as we get those temperatures into the lower 40s this afternoon. Congratulations, Chantel Janowitz of Seaford, Delaware, on winning an umbrella from CoastTV. Coming up, we will talk about a beautiful warm-up ahead as we go through the middle part of the week. I'll bring that to you in the next half hour.
Thank you, Chris. After the break on CoastTV News today, Nancy Guthrie investigation. What new information was discovered over the weekend?
Also, the National Park Service is celebrating President's Day. What promotion the outdoor experiences are offering.
Plus, Purdue truck overboard, how the company is responding after the deadly accident on Sunday. CoastTV News today continues after the break.
Now on CoastTV News.
Waiting for the warm-up. How much ice and snow remains after a stretch of days above the freezing mark.
Rain is exiting the coast, and we are going to be left with, well, a cloudy, raw, breezy day on Delmarva, but I'm tracking a nice warm-up that everyone is going to enjoy.
Plus, bridge tunnel deadly crash. What we're learning after a Purdue Farms tractor trailer plunged into the Chesapeake Bay.
And new eruption episode, the volcano in Hawaii that erupted last night, and the advisory issued in that area for today.
This is CoastTV News Today.
February 16th, 2026. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for joining us today.
6:30 a.m. We have President's Day today, but tomorrow we got a couple big ones going on. You have Fat Tuesday and Chinese New Year.
Which isn't that exciting? We're coming off of a holiday weekend with Valentine's Day, President's Day today. It is just a busy week, and we have these lovely warm temperatures.
Oh, yeah.
Chris is saying that there are going to be 60 degrees in the forecast. And
I
Chris,
saw that.
What an exciting week for us.
I know, maybe I might not make any enemies this week on the peninsula as we are tracking some milder temperatures. We had a rather soaking rain that developed late yesterday evening into the overnight. Most of that rain is now offshore as this area of low pressure continues to push to the east. High pressure building into the area, and we picked up some pretty good rainfall totals across most of the area, anywhere from 60 tenths in Milford, upwards of over an inch of rain in Bethany Beach and Dagsboro. So it was a soaking rain overnight. We're at 35 degrees right now in Lewes, and those winds are picking up as well out of the northeast. A little fog trying to develop here over the last hour across portions of Ocean City, but we are above the freezing mark at Ocean City. 36 there, 37 in Georgetown, and we are at 35 in Rehoboth. Those winds screaming out of the northeast, gusting to 31 in Indian River Inlet and 30 in Ocean City. So it's going to be a rather breezy start to our President's Day under mostly cloudy skies. 41 by 8, and we'll top out in the lower 40s through the afternoon today. We are tracking some mild temperatures ahead, as I mentioned, 50s and 60s. Plus, when our next chance of rain rolls in, your full 7-day forecast just a few minutes away.
Thank you, Kristen. We have some live video to show you. This is Kilauea. It's the volcano in Hawaii. And on Sunday, just before 7 p.m. Eastern Time, it erupted. The latest activity is designated as Episode 42. The Hawaii Volcano Advisory raised the volcano level alert on that, and the fountains of lava are reported to reach up to 1,200 feet. National Weather Service issued an ash fall advisory for Monday.
And after a warmer last couple of days, a significant amount of snow has melted.
And our Lisa Weber is live in Lewes. She's out in the conditions. It's something that we've been tracking due to that significant amount that we received last month. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. The conditions outside right now, they're pretty bearable. It's windy here this morning at the beach in Lewes, but nothing that we can't handle after all of those freezing temperatures we experienced just a couple of days ago. Over the past couple of days, it's been warm outside, which is good for the snow to melt. I know there's snow behind me right here, but this pile was significantly higher last week. This is the parking lot of Johnny Walker Beach, and Lewes is an area that has been really struggling with the snow from that storm that was almost a month ago at this point. We know the Delaware Bay experienced a lot of issues with ice that impacted the Cape May Lewes ferry, but over the past couple of days, a significant amount of snow. It has thawed, completely gone away. I noticed some of those fields. You can start to see that grass, which is a really good sign. Chris mentioned that we're going to get some warmer temperatures later into the week. We're going to hold him to that. I think we're all ready for the springtime, but if you're coming to Lewes this morning, you're going to notice less snow, a breeze, so make sure you still bundle up. But back to you.
Thank you, Elisa and Lewes. And authorities have identified 61-year-old Ronnie Andrews from North Carolina as the Purdue Farms tractor-trailer driver who died on Sunday morning after going overboard the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. You can see the scene here from our Coast Copter, and police say that the accident was caused guardrail and curb damage to the bridge. A single southbound lane closure remains while repairs will continue, and the cause of the crash remains under investigation. But officials say that weather was not a factor.
And Purdue Farms saying in a statement, quote, "Our thoughts and deepest condolences are with his family, friends, and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. He had been a valued member of our team," end quote.
Happening this afternoon in Georgetown, officials will continue to plan the 250th anniversary of our nation. According to the agenda, the America 250 Committee is expected to discuss a building mural and craft festival. Committee members may also consider a fire hydrant painting activity, along with an update on possible sponsorships. And officials will gather in Georgetown today at 3:30 p.m.
Also today, it's President's Day, and that means people can go to national parks for free. This year where you can get into any national park free. They're mostly on federal holidays, but they also include days like Constitution Day and Theodore Roosevelt's birthday. And one of the national sites is here on Delmarva. It's Assateague Island National Seashore.
Authorities continuing to investigate a deadly house explosion in Maryland. Firefighters responded Saturday evening to a home on Pentridge Court in Chestertown, and you can see the house was found fully engulfed in flames. Police say 68-year-old homeowner Charles William Heaps was later found dead in the debris, and according to officials, 5 family members escaped safely, though a family pet also died. Investigators believe that the explosion may have involved propane vapors and possibly an electrical source. The home is considered a total loss, with damages estimated around $2 million.
And new overnight, the investigation into the presumed kidnapping of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother Nancy. It's now in its 3rd week.
Reed Binion showing us what new clues investigators have found.
Another glove.
We're hopeful that this is going to be a clue that'll lead them to the suspect.
Law enforcement experts reacting to news that the FBI is analyzing DNA from a glove found near Nancy Guthrie's home.
They're doing everything they can to get a profile in CODIS, and they'll run it and see if it does match to somebody.
According to the FBI, the glove appears to match those worn by the suspect captured in doorbell camera footage outside Guthrie's home the morning she disappeared. The agency said the glove with the DNA is not the same glove the New York Post reported on last week, with a photograph of a black glove investigators found less than 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home.
This glove could be very promising, but we have to caveat that a little bit. Yes, it has male DNA apparently on it, but we don't know if it's the same DNA that's inside that house.
Late last week, the Pima County Sheriff's Department said authorities found DNA at Nancy Guthrie's property that didn't belong to her or those in close contact to her. Those investigative developments coming ahead of another emotional plea on Instagram by Savannah Guthrie Sunday.
It's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken. We still have hope.
The Today Show anchor appealing directly to those who may have her mother or anyone who may know anything about the case.
It is never too late to do the right thing.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
We're now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. on this Monday morning. With no agreement over ICE reforms, the Department of Homeland Security has now run out of funding. This morning, the reality of another partial government shutdown is settling in after the Department of Homeland Security ran out of funding over the weekend. With no deal on reforms to immigration enforcement operations, critical workers at FEMA, the Coast Guard, and TSA are once again working without pay. Union leader Andrew Cardozo says that TSA agents are still recovering from the last government shutdown in the fall. He says they can't afford another extended stretch without pay.
For me, eventually, it's going to come down to, do I put gas in the car to go to work for free, or do I put food on the table with that money for my kid?
Congress is out until next week, but could come back if there's a vote with a deal.
And we have a lot more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, a Delaware Olympics watch party. The reaction from the family of Team USA member Mystique Rowe.
Also, Daytona drama, how Tyler Reddick, driving for a team co-owned by Michael Jordan, came home a winner at the Daytona 500.
Plus, Fort Miles history, how the museum plans to celebrate military history later this month. Stay with us on CoastTV News Today.
Well, we had an overnight soaker on Delmarva, picked up anywhere between about a half an inch to a little over an inch in some locations on Sussex County as this area of low pressure continues to race to the east. High pressure building into the area today. It's quite breezy, especially at the beaches. We've seen some gusts in excess of 30 miles an hour, 36 degrees, so we are above the freezing mark. A lot of puddles out there this morning. 37 Salisbury, 35 in Georgetown as those winds continue gusting out of the northeast to 33 in Ocean City, 32. This is going to be our zone for the most, with the highest winds through at least the morning and the early part of the afternoon. Lesser winds as you go off to the mid-shore. Mostly cloudy skies through the day today. We get up into the lower 40s with that north to northeast wind, anywhere between about 15 to 25 with gusts at the beaches to 35 miles an hour. Get your latest forecast by calling our First Alert Weather phone, sponsored by Broxton Mandela's Federico. A nice warm-up is in store this week. I'll have that for you coming up my full forecast.
Thank you, Chris. And the Georgetown Public Library marking America 250 with a special March History series. Throughout March, the library will host educational programs focused on Delaware's indigenous heritage and key political moments in state history. Programs include a March 6 presentation on the history of the Nanticoke people in the Nanticoke Indian Museum, a look at Native American life in Delaware before European colonization on March 17th, and a March 23rd program on Delaware's anti-suffrage movement. All of those events are free and are open to the public. And in Lewes, a special look at local military history is coming to Fort Miles later this month. The Fort Miles Historical Association will host a lecture on the Eastern Test Range at 10 a.m. February 21st inside the North Gun Room at the Fort Miles Museum. Caitlin Dykes with Denrec Parks and Recreation will lead the presentation, highlighting Fort Miles' role in artillery and missile testing during the final years of the World War II and the early Cold War. Admission is free, but donations are encouraged and seating is limited, so organizers are recommending registering in advance online.
Sunday was Daytona Day, the 68th running of the Daytona 500, the Great American Race. In one of the storylines, Kyle Busch, he was on the pole looking for his first 500 win in his 21st appearance. Jam-packed as always at the World Center of Racing, and you'll have a big record too in a tight race like Daytona. And here we are under 80 laps to go, 17 car wreck when Justin Allgaier tries to squeeze up on Denny Hamlin. Lap 185, there is Kyle Busch taking the lead with several Fords ahead of him pitting, but Busch would not be a factor at the end. Final lap, we got a shootout. Chase Elliott on the left, Tyler Reddick on the right. It's Reddick who survives to capture his first ever Daytona 500 win. Reddick drives for the 2311 team. That's a team that's co-owned by Michael Jordan. So the greatest basketball player ever is now a winner of the Great American Race. Reddick only led that final lap to win the 500. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished second, Joey Logano third, and Chase Elliott, who had the lead coming out of turn 4, finishes fourth. Tonight in the MEAC, Delaware State back home at Memorial Hall. The Hornets are hosting the Howard Bison. DSU is coming off a 75-58 Saturday loss at Norfolk State. Tip-off tonight in Dover is set for 7. Sunday in New Jersey at Rutgers. Maryland attempting to make it 3 wins in a row. Darius Adams kept the Terrapins close, scoring 13 points. But the Scarlet Knights' Tariq Francis poured in 21. Terps lose 68-57, and they fall to 10-15 on the season.
And coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night live at 7 p.m. UMES faces off against Norfolk State in men's basketball. Then you can catch the final score at 10:30 p.m. And The rosters for this year's Blue Gold basketball teams are set to be announced this Wednesday. The Blue Gold selection show airs at 2:30 on the Delmarva Sports Network, where the full rosters will be revealed for the first time. And the show can also be streamed on the DSN app with DSN Plus, with a re-air scheduled for 8 p.m. And if you're having a rough week, cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from CoastTV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for free at coasttv.com/sign up to get weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
Clouds and puddles greeting us this Monday morning on the Delmarva Peninsula. We had a soaking rain overnight, but we're going to trend mild, yes, over the week ahead. 50s and 60s make a nice return. Details coming up next.
And the time is now 6:48 a.m. as we're taking a live look out until into nothing.
Low clouds there.
Chris, we're looking at nothing. Well, this is a look at Laurel, but yikes, not a pleasant way to wake up this morning, Chris.
Yeah, you know, we have a lot of low clouds across the area this morning, all thanks to that system that pushed through last night, bringing us pretty good soaking rain. We picked up over an inch of rain across many of our areas along Sussex County and the coast, so much needed rain. People want maybe some people want some more snow this winter, but they had a little snow up across portions of southeastern Pennsylvania up towards New York City. A little slushy inch there. High pressure building in, and we are in for a rather breezy start to the week. You can see the American flag blowing in the wind there. 36 in Ocean View. We had a little fog trying to form there in Ocean City. Visibility down to 3 miles. But the good news is we've been above the freezing mark this morning. So whatever fell overnight is wet this morning on the ground. 36 in Rehoboth. We're at 37 Gumboro, as well as in Georgetown. We've had some gusts. Look at this, 30-mile-an-hour Ocean City, Indian River Inlet, and those winds are going to pick up, gusting to 35 along the beaches here over the next few hours. We do have small craft advisories up through tomorrow evening for the Delaware beaches and for the bay. Those run through 1 o'clock this afternoon. Mostly cloudy skies today. We get up to 43 in Milford and Georgetown, 40 in Ocean City, 43 in Salisbury under those mostly cloudy skies through the afternoon. Some late clearing, especially along the mid-shore, partly cloudy overnight, and then we'll have a mix of sun and clouds into the day on Tuesday. So there's those wind gusts in excess of 30, 35 miles an hour through at least the early part of the afternoon. As that area of low pressure continues pushing off to the east, the winds will relax into the day on your Tuesday. And the temperatures are going to be rising as well. 55 into Tuesday, and then we're up to 60 on Wednesday. Average high 48 degrees, and that warming trend is going to continue into the end of the week. Now, we could see an isolated shower late Wednesday. I think most of this rain is going to be primarily north of Delmarva, and we stay primarily dry into Thursday as well, watching another system that will impact the region primarily on Friday, giving us a chance of some rain, periods of rain likely Friday, and then that system will then clear out into the early part of Saturday before another system may impact the region the late part of the weekend. So we turn milder, and we also get a bit more active here as we push into the week. 43 this afternoon, breezy at the coast. We're at 27 overnight under partly cloudy skies. Those winds relax. 55 into Tuesday, and then that warming trend just continues. Ash Wednesday, 60 degrees. We could see a late shower into Wednesday night, 62 into Thursday, and then we are looking at that chance of rain, periods of rain likely into Friday, and then it clears out just in time for the weekend, but we do turn much cooler. Matt.
Thank you, Chris. And we are now taking you to downtown Milan, Italy. This is a live look there. We have less than a week of the 25th Olympic Winter Games. They're approaching 1 o'clock there in Italy.
How fun is this? A watch party continued for Team USA's Mystique Rowe at the Crab Barn in Long Neck Saturday afternoon. In women's skeleton competition, Mystique and Team USA had a chance to grab the gold medal. The competition is Rowe's Olympic debut, and Rowe's mother says that Mystique's track experience at Queen's University of Charlotte in North Carolina was a crucial part of her athletic development.
Oh, it's just in her bones to be athletic and just work hard. She's just a beast.
Mystique finished 15th in the competition. However, Mystique Rowe and Austin Florian went on to represent Team USA Sunday in the mixed team skeleton event, where they placed 7th overall.
And now let's take a look at the medal count. The U.S. has 5 gold medals so far. They have 8 silver, 4 bronze. You do that math, it totals 17 medals. Norway back leading this thing with 12 gold, 7 silver, 7 bronze for 26 overall. Italy's in second with 8 gold, 4 silver, 10 bronze, and their total is 22.
And it is day 13 of the competition of the Olympic Winter Games, and our coverage will continue all the way to the closing ceremonies on February 22nd, right here on Coast TV.
And we do have a programming note for you due to the Winter Olympics. Through the 20th, you can catch Jeopardy on our sister station, Fox 21, at its regular time, 7:30 p.m. It's the same show, same time. It's just on a different channel while the games are on.
And the time is now 6:52 a.m. Matt Pensick. It is time to check in with our very fashionable coastal pet of the day.
Yeah, I like what we're wearing here. Today's coastal pet of the day is ready to eat or play. On your screen, that is Nala. And Nala is wishing for warmer days so she can say hello to all her friends at the OC Dog Playground. Nala was submitted to us by Cheryl in Ocean View.
Matt, it seems like Nala's going to get her wish with everything that Chris has been putting in the forecast. It seems like a very nice week to hang out at the dog park with all of your friends. And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. You can send us photos. Tell us what makes them so special if you take a look at your screen now.
Scan that QR code top center to get your friends to us, and then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
The time is now 6:56 a.m. It's time for things you need to know before you go. Authorities have identified 61-year-old Ronnie Andrews from North Carolina as the Purdue Farms tractor-trailer driver who died Sunday morning after going overboard the Chesapeake Bay Bridge tunnel. You can see the scene from our Coast Copter here. Police say the accident caused guardrail and curb damage to the bridge. A single southbound lane remains open while those repairs continue, and the cause of the crash is under investigation, and officials say weather was not a factor.
And we have one final check with First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. Chris, the rain's moving out, but those raw conditions are remaining.
Yeah, we're going to have a persistent onshore flow today, so it's going to keep a lot of low clouds and playing quite breezy at the beaches, especially late this morning through the afternoon. A mostly cloudy day. We get up to the lower 40s, but brighter days ahead. 55 by your Tuesday. Ash Wednesday, 60 degrees. Could see a late shower Wednesday, but primarily dry conditions for most of the week. 62 into Thursday, and then our next system will impact the region on Friday, bringing periods of rain into at least the early part of Saturday, and then another system will arrive Sunday, and then we turn much cooler into the second half of that 10-day forecast.
Thank you, Chris. Looking forward to that. Thank you for joining us for Coast TV News today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then a reminder, we will not have Coast TV News midday today, due to the Olympic Winter Game coverage.
And for more news and coverage you can count on, download our Coast TV News and weather apps. Have a great Monday morning, everybody.